This is a demo of version 2 of an animated map covering the Battle of Champion Hill, which was fought on May 16, 1863. Champion Hill is located about 20 miles east of Vicksburg, Mississippi. This animated map is available on the internet for you to use, and at the end of this video, I'll show you how to find the map, different ways to use it, and also list some of the changes between version 1 and version 2. Historians say Champion Hill was the pivotal battle of the Vicksburg Campaign, or in other words, the winner of this battle wins the campaign. Major General Ulysses Grant and his Union Army wanted to capture Vicksburg. Lieutenant General John Pemberton and his Confederate Army were defending Vicksburg. The map you see here is an updated version of a map I found in the Atlas to the Official Records, which was published by the Government Printing Office in the 1890s. The railroad that connected Jackson and Vicksburg runs across the top edge of the map. Edwards Station is to the west on the left edge, and Bolton Station is to the east on the right edge. There's a creek running from northeast to southwest, Baker's Creek, and there are 3 roads from the east that funnel into Edwards. The Jackson Road on the north, and the Raymond Road on the south, and in the center is the Middle Road. And there are also smaller roads connecting north and south, not all of them shown on the map. And notice this right here, the crossroads. And that creek is a barrier, and notice that there's 2 crossings over the creek, here and here. The terrain here is broken up with hills, ridges, ravines, farm fields, and patches of brush and forest. Compare this to the Gettysburg battlefield. The Gettysburg battlefield was dominated by ridges that ran north and south, which made it fairly easy to understand, but the Champion Hill battlefield here on this map, Champion Hill isn't like that. There's 2 high spots, Bowles Hill and Champion Hill, and according to Warren Grabow in his book 98 Days, Bowles Hill is the higher one. Blue icons are Union infantry brigades. Gray icons are Confederate infantry brigades. The U.S. flag marks General Grant's location. The Confederate battle flag marks General Pemberton's location. The animation starts on the morning before the battle, which is the morning of May 15. Pemberton's Confederate Army was camped at Edwards. I'll start the timer, so now it's 9 a.m. on the 15th of May. And notice right away that Pemberton's army is concentrated at Edwards on the left, and already a couple of Union brigades have arrived at Bolton on the upper right. I'll fast forward up to dawn on the following morning, the day of the battle. See Pemberton's army strung out along the roads here, and Grant's army approaching on the 3 roads from the east. At dawn, Pemberton expects that Grant's army is still attacking the state capital at Jackson, about 25 miles to the east, but actually, Grant's army captured Jackson on the 14th, spent the 15th turning around and heading back to the west, and now on the morning of the 16th, they're here. And they plan to meet the Confederate Army head-on, Grant's army marching west, with Pemberton's army marching east. General Grant knew just where to find Pemberton's army on the 16th and also has pretty good information that the Confederates are outnumbered. I'll fast forward again and you can watch the battle unfold. The Union Army pours in on the Confederate left, and then about 11 a.m. starts an attack with 2 divisions, Logan's and Hovey's divisions, against Stevenson's Confederate division. Not much is going on in the center and on the Confederate right, but the Confederate division commanders there, Generals Bowen and Loring, are both telling General Pemberton that they're under heavy attack. And that's not true. And meanwhile, the Confederate left has collapsed. The Union now controls the crossroads, which splits the Confederate Army in 2, and has cut their retreat route here. Finally, around 2 p.m., General Pemberton has convinced General Bowen to bring his division to the left. They're here, and they start a counterattack. But notice that the 3 brigades in Loring's division are still defending the Confederate right down on the Raymond Road. Bowen's counterattack regains control of the crossroads and pushes Hovey's Union division back, and the 3 brigades in Stevenson's division reform and join the counterattack. And 2 of Loring's brigades are finally moving north to help. But Union reinforcements are coming up fast. See the 3 brigades from Crocker's division here. And notice that while Bowen has pushed back Hovey's division in his front, the Union units on his left and right hold their positions. That's Logan's division on Bowen's left and Osterhaus's division on Bowen's right. Bowen's counterattack is losing steam, and eventually his infantry troopers run out of ammunition. Maybe the peak of Bowen's counterattack was here at about 3 p.m. See the 3 fresh brigades from Crocker's Union division and Bowen's front, and see 3 brigades from Logan's division on Bowen's left, and Osterhaus's Union division, 2 brigades, finally starting to move on the middle road on Bowen's right flank. And from the south, see 2 brigades from Loring's division coming up to support Bowen, but it's too late. Paraphrasing one Confederate officer's comment after the war, Bowen's division bored their way through the Union Army, and now they'll have to bore their way back out. Meanwhile, a bit earlier, General Pemberton rode south looking for General Loring and his division. I'll back the recording up a bit to that spot. Pemberton reaches a high spot, and from what General Pemberton can see, he decides that Union troops here now have easy access to his rear. And then he rides back north to his headquarters, deploys that 1 brigade from Loring's division that has arrived, and then General Bowen tells him that he cannot hold the crossroads. Apparently at that point, Pemberton decides that the battle is lost, and he orders his army to retreat southeast and make their way to Edwards, and from there back to Vicksburg. And the animation ends about sunset on the day of the battle. This animated map is available for you to use on my website. Open the page at this address. Click the link for the Champion Hill map. It may take a while to load. Click Start, and the animation begins at 9 a.m. on the day before the battle. But you might want to skip forward and start at dawn on the day of the battle, or at noon during the battle. To do that, click View, and then click one of the other choices in the Start Time dialog. So I'll click Noon, and then Start. And you see that now the animation starts at noon. You might look at all these little icons on the map and wonder which unit is which. Mouseover works, so for example, I'll click Pause and then roll the mouse over the 2 brigades in Bowen's division, and then over the 2 brigades in Osterhaus's division. If you want to follow the progress of a division through the fight, you can do that. For example, I'll select Bowen's division, and I'll start the animation at noon, and then see Bowen's brigades highlighted in red, and I'll fast forward so you can see their counterattack into the center at the crossroads. You can also follow individual brigades. I'll select Tillman, Burbridge, and Garrard's brigades and start the animation at dawn on the day of the battle, and see those 3 brigades highlighted in black, green, and red. The one big change from version 1 to version 2 is that I added the flags to mark the locations of Pemberton's and Grant's headquarters. So, for example, see here about mid-morning when Pemberton's headquarters was at the Roberts House and Grant was riding west on the Jackson Road coming from Clinton. Other changes are fixes to brigade paths and locations. The most important changes are to the Union brigades as they approach on the 3 roads. For example, see in version 1 that Garrard and Lindsay's brigades reached the summit of Bowles Hill around 9:30 a.m. But according to the writers, this is wrong, because in order to guard the eastern approaches to the crossroads, the Confederate Division Commander, General Stevenson, sent a combat team out past the summit of Bowles Hill about this time, and because Garrard and Lindsay's brigades didn't actually cross over the summit westbound until about the time Bowen's division started to retreat, maybe around 3 p.m. So see the same time in version 2, about 9:30 a.m. At 9:30 a.m., in version 2, Garrard and Lindsay are correctly placed, still on the east side of Bowles Hill. A second example, down south on the Raymond Road, Tillman's Confederate brigade had an important fight around 5 p.m. to hold on to the river crossing, holding back Burbridge's Union brigade moving west. See what it looks like around 5 p.m. in version 1. In version 1, Burbridge's brigade is sitting about a mile away, on the other side of a ridge. But version 2 is changed to now show Burbridge and Landrum's Union brigades pressing close to Tillman's brigade. There weren't a huge number of casualties in this fight, but General Tillman was killed by an artillery round, and historians give Tillman's brigade a lot of credit for keeping the crossing open so that Bowen's division could escape. And that's it, version 2 of the Champion Hill animated map. And let me know in the comments if you have suggestions on how I can make these maps more clear or more useful. Thanks for watching.